all children educated in California, and that includes improving their outcomes. And I'm grateful for their partnership and advocacy on this very important issue and their ability and agreement to sponsor this bill. And at this time, I would like to invite a good friend of mine who is no stranger to education, as she is a former educator herself. She is no stranger to the fight to ensure that our children have a very strong foundation in areas of math and reading and writing. And that is Assemblymember Blanca Rubio to share some remarks.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here as we discuss an issue that is incredibly important for the future of our students and our state. Every child deserves an opportunity to succeed in math, yet far too often students fall behind before anyone realizes that they are struggling. By the time those challenges are identified, the gap can already feel overwhelming for a student. Across California, we are seeing the impacts of learning loss and widening achievement gaps in math. Too many students struggle quietly, and without early identification, those challenges follow them forever. As a teacher, I can tell you that when I would speak to children, they would say, "Oh, I'm just not good in math. I'm not good in math," and blaming themselves for not being good in math, as opposed to they didn't get the proper support early on. That is why 1067 is so important. This bill ensures that we identify math learning challenges early, so students receive the help that they need when it matters most, when early intervention can still change the trajectory of the academic journey. Before coming to the legislature, I spent 17 years as a classroom teacher. During that time, I saw firsthand how powerful early intervention can be. I had students who thrived in many areas of school, yet quietly struggled with math because they were seen as good students. Their challenges sometimes went unnoticed, and the extra support they needed wasn't always identified early on. When we identify learning challenges and provide the right support, students gain confidence, strengthen their skills, and stay engaged in school. Unfortunately, too many students are moved along from grade to grade without the proper identification or intervention. Without that support, they can fall further and further behind, sometimes feeling lost in the system and slipping through the cracks. Math is cumulative. Each concept builds on the one before it. If a student does not develop strong foundational skills early on, it becomes increasingly difficult to succeed as the coursework grows more complex in later grades. SB 1067 is about being proactive rather than reactive. It is about catching challenges early and making sure students receive targeted, evidence-based support before small gaps become major barriers to success. By identifying math learning challenges in the earliest grades and responding with timely and targeted support, we can help more California children build strong foundations, stay on track academically, and open the door for 2 future opportunities. This bill is about equity. It is about ensuring that every student, regardless of their background or circumstances, have the support that they need to succeed in the classroom. I look forward to working with my colleagues, with my friend, and Senator Rubio, my sister, who is also an educator, and educators across the state and the families in our communities to move SB 1067 forward. Because when we invest in early support of our students, we are investing in their confidence, their success, and absolutely the future of California. Thank you.
Good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah, it still is. Sorry, I'm a 5-month-old. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Charles Wilkes. I am an assistant professor of mathematics education research, and I'm here to share what research tells us about why this bill matters. So, children are not born believing they are or are not math people. They enter the world curious about patterns, quantities, and relationships. They are natural sense makers. This bill builds on those strengths. The research on early mathematics learning is clear. While it may not always receive the same attention, the evidence on early math screening and intervention is strong. We know that mathematics achievement is low across grade levels and often declines over time. That makes the early years critical because they are when the foundations of learning are later built. Early mathematics includes understanding numbers and quantities, one-to-one correspondence, comparing amounts, spatial reasoning. These may seem simple, but they are deeply connected to later learning, including algebra, data science, and calculus. Research shows that strong early mathematics predicts later academic success. Again, research shows that strong early mathematics predicts later academic success. This is where screening matters. A math screener is a short, developmentally appropriate check-in. It helps teachers understand how students are developing foundational skills. It is not punitive, it is not diagnostic. It simply provides timely information so educators can offer support early before small gaps become larger obstacles. This bill advances more equitable screening practices because historically assessments have sometimes reinforced very harmful stereotypes or limited opportunities for Black and brown students. This bill calls for something different. It calls for screening that recognizes students' linguistic, cultural, and racial resources as strengths. This is especially important given the long-standing disparities in mathematics outcomes for Black, Indigenous, and students of color. These disparities are not about ability. Research consistently shows that children enter school capable and curious about mathematics. The question is whether our systems recognize that potential early enough and provide the support needed to nurture it. This bill builds on important work already underway in California, including the 2023 Mathematics Framework. That framework emphasizes equitable access to deep mathematical learning, early screening and intervention, strengthen that work to it by ensuring students have the foundations they need to fully participate.
Senator Weber Pierson to answer any questions and make closing comments. Thanks.
Well, I want to thank our speakers this morning, Assemblymember Blanca Rubio, Dr. Charles Wilkes, and Marshall Tuck. And as I was listening to our educators, those who have spent years in this area, it really hit me a common theme that they were saying. This is a skill. Someone is not born inherently brilliant in math. Other people are not born not being able to do math. It is about early intervention and opportunity. I remember when I was younger, my mom used to tell me all the time, well, you're good in math, that's why you should go and be a doctor. Not everyone is good in math and science, but you are, it just kind of comes to you. But listening to them and thinking back, I had a different kind of foundation that was laid for me to ensure that I would be good in math, reading, and science. I have laid that same kind of foundation for my children. And the reality is that every child in this state could be good in math if we're able to screen and give them the tools that they need early on. I also want to thank those who are sponsoring and supporting this extremely important bill, and thank my fellow legislators in both houses who have come on early as co-authors. Because at the core, this bill is about our future. It's about the future of our kids, the future of our communities, and the future of this state. Are we preparing our next generation to be able to be competitive and run this state in this ever-evolving world of technology? Ensuring that every child has the opportunity to build a strong foundation in math, opening doors to lasting academic achievement, meaningful career pathways, and lifelong success. That is what SB 1067 will do. I want to thank all of you so much for taking the time to be here today. And at this time, we'll open it up if anyone has any questions. Oh.
Thank you. Why hasn't it taken so long for the state of California to try to level up these scores, these math scores?
Good question. Yeah.
How long?
Why? Oh, that long?
Lecture coming, Professor.
That is an excellent question. And it is beyond frustrating for people who have worked in the education space. It is beyond frustrating for those who have been looking at these numbers for decades and generations. And seeing that as a state, we have not prioritized education. We haven't. And that's why our numbers in reading and math are so low. I am grateful that we are taking the steps to fix that. But we do need people at the top in leadership that really focus on the education of our children. And hopefully we'll be able to get this bill passed. That's just another step in the right direction, but it is something that many of us in the legislature are committed to. As an African American, as a mother, as a Californian, this is embarrassing for us to have as much resources as we claim to have, and our children that are in our public schools are really being failed.
Of course, you know, you come from a educator and a lawyer, a judge, and I've heard these things before too, that there could be biases, you know, especially in the public schools where some of the teachers, educators know that some of the students are not that skilled in math, and then the other ones, they kind of like separate them. Is that one of the problems that you're seeing too here in the state, or I'm just asking?
Well, I think, and I'll allow Assemblymember Rubio to talk on this as well, because she was actually in the classroom, but I think there are biases in the society. And I remember when I was growing up, there was a belief that a certain ethnic group was good in math, and those that were not a part of that particular ethnic group was not good in math inherently. And that was one of the reasons why my mom pushed me to go into STEM and to focus on the fact because I was good in math and science, and that was not viewed as something that African Americans were traditionally, supposedly, allegedly good in. But I think that when we start with screening everyone and we start to change that narrative and we start to talk about why it's important to screen, because no one is inherently better than anyone else in this particular area. Marshall talked about the fact that this is a skill. You have to learn it. You have to be taught it. It has to be reinforced. Then my hope is that that will change some of those biases that we see within the education system. But there are biases within education, just like there's biases within healthcare, and there's biases, unfortunately, within the society. But when we start to do bills like this is one way to start to break down some of those biases. Thank you.
She knows I have a lot to say about that.
Good.
So, Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, and you know, to the question, I was born in Mexico, came to the United States when I was 6, didn't speak the language. We were in fact deported and undocumented until I was 13. And so that bias that you talked about, when I was in high school, I remember going to the counselor and I said, I want to go to college. And automatically he said, honey, you're just going to get pregnant. You shouldn't go into home ec instead. And he put me in an economics classroom because he felt that, I don't know if it was because it was Latina, because I didn't speak the language very well. You know, you pick, whatever bias you think fits in that narrative. And so I didn't go to college right away. After, a long time, I call it my 10-year plan, I went to community college, but I had the same experience. I was like, well, I'm not good in this, I'm not good in that, because I wasn't taught, or because of that bias that you're talking about. And so, yes, absolutely, there is bias. A few years ago, some of the folks here helped me. We passed a bill, the preschool expulsion bill, that also has a bias. Preschool kids were being expelled, even though they were exhibiting the same habits. Biting, for example, is a trait that all 3-4-year-olds exhibit, except for the Latino and Black kids were getting expelled at a higher rate. And so I can tell you absolutely that that was a bias. Now, because of all of those reasons, I also spent 17 years as a teacher, as an educator, and I come to the legislature and found amazing partners like Dr. Weber Pierson, who also have had some kind of bias. You mentioned that she was, raised by an attorney and a doctor. It doesn't matter who you're being raised by if the school system does right by kids, and we have these early screeners. It doesn't matter where you came from or who is pushing you. And she can be a successful doctor, and I could be a successful teacher, regardless of our background. And that's what this is trying to do. We're trying to make sure that all kids have the same opportunities that everybody else does, regardless of who is raising them or what the circumstances are. And so I'm very grateful to Dr. Weber because of this. We have been partners and trying to put the pieces together, and hopefully pretty soon we'll have the whole puzzle built so that California kids can be successful, and somebody like me didn't have to wait 10 years to go to college because somebody decided that I wasn't good enough, or whatever it is that he thought at the moment. That we all fulfill, and all our kids fulfill whatever dream that they have for their future, and with that, making California a better place. And I want to be able to depend on those children to take care of me when I'm old, and we can't do it if they're not successful in whatever they want to do.
I mean, that question is a multi-layered, complex question. I think my colleagues, they did a phenomenal job of addressing it. The thing that I would probably add to it is it takes everybody. It takes the pre-service teacher, our teacher candidates now, making sure that they're trained right. When you think about biases, it takes in-service teachers, it takes leaderships, it takes families. And so for me, it's bias, yes, it exists, but it's going to take a collaborative effort. Everyone matters. We're stronger together. It's going to take all of that. So the same narratives that exist in society and in the world, we have to make sure we address those head on, have a strengths-based perspective and approach to it. Because again, people are not coming to classrooms as blank slates. There's a lot of strengths, a lot of culture, a lot of linguistic resources that we're not taking advantage of. And so, one, we have to address what are these biases, because they do exist, and they are in the fabric of our state, of our country. And so we have to address that, but it has to be a collaborative effort from all parties involved.
I do have one more question, if you don't mind. Maybe Marshall Tuck can ask. As far as the early intervention part, what are we talking about here? You screen them, now you're looking for an outcome. Could that be more hours, additional classes, after school programs? Once we screen the individual might be struggling, with their math skill, what's next after that?
Yeah, appreciate the question. You had you could come up and answer the question. You have some other points out there. I think what's most important about the question is we're not gathering the information to do nothing with it. The information is all about giving more information to teachers and principals and counselors and teaching aides, then they can make the adjustments in the classrooms and at schools to help kids catch up. Because the research is completely clear. If you don't catch up early in math, because it's cumulative, you just don't catch up. So what that means is we need to get more one-on-one tutoring for kids that are really far behind, because some kids need it. More small group instruction. The schools I used to lead, if students were really struggling, we'd organize time during the day for get kids in smaller groups. You have more direct personalized experience to help them catch up. You mentioned more time. Time is critical. We don't talk about more time for math. If you're far behind, sometimes you need more time, either by changing the schedule during the school day or adding more time after school and integrating with an after school program to do more focused math support. It's also helping teachers. Dr. Wilk mentioned it. We have to help our teachers build their skill sets around teaching kids early math in particular, both at the teacher preparation level and also for existing teachers in the classroom. So it does need to be comprehensive. And Dr. Weber Pierson mentioned that this is a start. This is a step forward. But those interventions, more time, more tutoring, more support for teachers, more small group instruction are essential to get kids caught up. And what's nice is the research is clear. If you get the interventions early, you can catch up. And that's what as has been mentioned, it's a skill. So if you get more support and time building that skill, you'll get the foundation. And we're not saying that everyone needs to be an advanced calculus or an astrophysicist. It's having that core foundational math skill set so you can go in a data-driven information economy and have those anchor skills to be successful, not just in school, but in jobs and work after.
And just one other point to add on to that, another powerful group that will get the results of this screening are the parents. And so that allows for parents to see whether or not their child is having any issues, and also serve as an advocate to ensure that the schools and the school districts are doing the things that Marshall Tuck and you mentioned to help out their children. And so I think for me as a parent, that is one of the more powerful things, that I will be able to see where my child is, kindergarten, first, second grade, and help ensure that the schools are doing what they need to do to improve their math skills before they get to the major test in the third grade. So I want to thank everyone so much for coming. Thank everyone who's come out to support this, and we will definitely be keeping you all updated on how this bill is moving, and our goal is to get it through both houses and signed